Hey guys, welcome to Karting with Chris. I'm Chris Hoyles, and today we're going to find out what's the best tire pressure. Let's get started. So today we're going to be using the Evanco Blues. We use these tires because the racing series I race with, it's mandatory you have to use the Evanco Blues or else you'll get disqualified. So, they're not the fastest tires available, but, they do the trick, so let's see what they can do. Alright guys, so the first video I sent, I pressed the red button. I guess I didn't press it hard enough on the GoPro, so the first video did not get recorded. But I did go out with 17 PSI and I did a 42.9. So that's the target to beat. Right now I'm at 18 PSI and I'm hoping to get faster. So the first lap, I'm not pushing as hard as I can. I'm going to try and get those tires warmed. I'm trying not to, ruin the tires. I want to get them hot before I start pushing as hard as I can. So coming up to this next lap, we're on lap 1. I'm going to skip to lap 5, and you're going to see two people. The two people just came back from Indianapolis, and I believe that track is higher speed, so their karts are running the wrong sprocket. So they're not going to hit the rev limiter at all. I don't even think they're hitting the rev limiter at all. And I am hitting the rev limiter, so I'm able to accelerate more and, have a huge advantage on them. But I think they were just out here for fun. They were just playing with each other. I was trying to catch up to them, see if I could play with them as well. They were battling back and forwards. Battling does make you slower, so I was able to catch up pretty easily. And right here is when I caught up to them. As the guy on the left is doing the scooch method. I will do a video on if going, leaning forward or jumping up and down is faster. But that's later to come. As I take this guy on the outside of this corner. It was a risky move. He could have easily taken the place back on the inside, but I held it and I was going up to this guy. I creeped up to him, gave him a nice nudge saying, "Hey, I'm right behind you. Don't run me over." And he looks behind me, he sees me, and right here you can see the acceleration. I am just catching up to him. And then what I did was I gave him a little push, make him a little faster. Actually, I didn't touch him that time, but right here is where I started catching up to him. I put full brakes. Normally I just lift there. That time I had to put on the brakes, so he was a bit slower. But let's see if I'm able to catch up to him here. Yep, I'm catching up. Didn't quite touch him, but you can get as close as you can. There's nothing wrong with touching the person. And then I think right here is where I was like, all right, I don't want to hang with these guys. I'm just going to pass them. And so I go for the move on the inside of turn 1. Now that's a very scary move. I mean, that corner is really banked and really fast. And when you try and pass on the inside, it's really easy to track out, and the guy's going to try and stay on the outside so he doesn't quite get past all the way. And you guys can both run into each other and run off into the grass over there. And I've seen it happen before. There's been some pretty bad crashes over there, so it's always kind of scary when you go through that corner. But I was able to pull it off and be unharmed. Now coming up to lap 9, this was my fastest lap, so I'll walk you through what I was doing. So turn 1, that's full throttle. I'm on the rev limiter, full throttle through there. Turn 2, I just do a tiny lift, and I get back on that gas, full gas. And then I track out as much as possible to the left, turn right, track out as much to the left again, and then this is full throttle through this chicane. You got to be careful of those curbs. If you get too much curb, it will slow you down. Not enough curb, and it will also slow you down. Brake at the rumble strips back there, track out as much as possible, And then use the rumble strips on the left there. That's very important. You want to use all the track. And then full gas all the way up to the line. And that was my fastest lap. It was a 42.8. This lap is my attempt at another try. So sometimes I'll keep getting faster, and then I'll hit a peak. Like I just won't get faster, I won't get slower. And so I'll do like a little cool down lap, not too slow where the tires get cold again, but a little cool down lap, and then push it hard to see if the kart's getting slow or if I'm getting slow. And so I pushed as hard as I could on this lap, and it was a 42.9, so it was not good enough. So after this lap, I came into the pits and we checked the tire pressure, and I think we added more PSI. Alright, so this is the next session. We did check the PSI, and it was still 18, and so we went up to 19. So this one will be 19 PSI, and we're hoping to get faster. We're always hoping to get faster. So this is my warm-up lap. So for my warm-up lap, I was moving the kart side to side, doing smooth motions, trying to get those tires warmed. And I usually don't go full out on my warm-up lap. Usually don't. Unless it's the qualifying session for a race, because there's not enough time to really do a warm-up lap. You get like 5 minutes. So you want to, go hard as fast as possible and try and, not, waste any time warming up. So I did a warm-up lap for a couple laps, not going full throttle. A couple times I went full throttle through a couple corners just to see if my tires are there yet. If I had to back off of that corner, I was like, all right, still do some warm-up laps. We're not quite ready. And it usually takes me 1 to 2 laps. I'm sure it depends where you're at, what the temperature of the track is. If it's colder, it's going to take a bit longer. If it's hotter, it's not going to take as long. So coming up to this lap, I went as fast as I could because my tires felt good. So I'll walk you through what was happening. So turn 1, fast as possible. The tires were a little squealy, so they're still not quite warmed up, but they were good enough. So I turn left, turn right, and then track out. Tracking out is like a big deal. If you're not tracking out, then you're not going as fast as possible. You bought the track, use the entire track. So coming into turn 7, track out as far as possible. Sometimes when I track out there, I'll dip a wheel. And if you dip a wheel, don't keep going as fast as possible. Unless it's a race, If it's a race, you just keep going and going. And but if you do dip a wheel, just back off because you'll have grass on your wheel and it'll be very slippery. So don't hurt yourself. All right, coming up to lap 9. This was my fastest lap. It was like super grippy. The grip was really good. So going into turn 1, like I could feel the kart stick. Turn 2, usually I do a full lift. There I was doing like a half lift and it was still sticking. So the tires felt really good at this point. Going through the chicane, I try and not hit the first one, and then I take a lot of the second one. Most people just hit both of them. The reason I do that is because it hurts my back and it feels more smooth to me. So going through 8 and 9 felt really, really sticky. And this lap was a 42.7, so it was a tenth faster. Going through this lap, I noticed a vibration, and then turn 2, I went off, and there goes the wheel. My wheel fell off. So guys, tighten your lug nuts before you go on track, even if you're 100% positive they're tightened, because that'll happen. So just a pro tip. The reason I didn't come in due to the vibration was because I thought the tires were corded. Usually when the tires are corded, you feel a vibration. This vibration was a little strong, but I was pretty sure that there was corded tires. So I tried giving it one more lap, seeing how well I could do on corded tires, and I didn't make it past turn 2. So there you go. Don't worry, I'm okay. The cart's okay. The hub might be a little scratched.
Tire fell off.
As I say, the tires fell off, but the cart looks good. I'm fine, so let's keep racing. So we have the data here. 17 psi is red, 18 psi is blue, 19 psi is green. So on lap 12, 17 psi had its fastest lap. On lap 9, 18 and 19 had its fastest lap. So the higher the psi, the quicker you'll get your fastest lap. So on like a qualifying session, for the races I do, it's like 5 minutes. So you want to have a pretty high psi to get that fastest lap as fast as possible before time runs out. On like a race, you want it to be a little lower psi because all the passing happens on the second to last lap or the last lap. And so you want your tires to be at their best near the end. So if we look at the data here, I labeled the corners and the chicane. So if you look at turn 1, the green line is way ahead of the red and a little bit ahead of the blue. And for the most part throughout the whole thing, it is ahead of all of them. Going into turn 3 though, they're about equal. I will say the blue might be a tad bit higher. Going through turn 8, again, the blue's just a tad bit higher. But coming out of 9 on the back straight, the green is ahead of them. And I think it was reaching higher top speeds. Not like 1 mile an hour higher, but it was still higher. So there's my advice. Thank you guys for watching. If you liked the video, please subscribe. And if you have any questions or suggestions, please comment below. Thank you guys for watching. Have a good day.